On behalf of the Sister Rose Thiering Board of Trustees, I welcome all to the 2023 Evening of Roses. With us today to celebrate the work and legacy of Sister Rose Thiering. We are very pleased to be able to welcome those of you who have been with us for a long time, as well as those who are new to the event. Tonight marks our 29th annual Evening of Roses, and we are proud to be able to host it here at Seton Hall's beautiful Bethany Hall with all of you. We welcome special guests tonight, Seton Hall University Provost, Dr. Katia Pastorini, President Emerita of Seton Hall University, Dr. Mary J. Meehan. Maud Dahm, New Jersey Commission of Holocaust Education. And especially our two honorees, Monsignor C. Anthony Zaccardi and Rabbi Noam Marans. This year, the Sister Rose Thiering Fund has added 3 new trustees, Roger Jacobs, Robin Sanders, and Ruth Ross. With those trustees and the rest of the Board of Trustees, please stand. Trustees, there you go. My thanks and appreciation to all trustees and program staff who helped make this event possible, especially the ERO, Evening of Roses Committee, Melinda Hanlon, Marilyn Rosenbaum, Ann Bergmeyer, Susan Feinstein, Deborah Lerner-Duane, and Ruth Ross for her editing. Initially, thank you to Executive Director Dr. Anthony Sigliatano and Jr. and Program Manager Yolanda Sheffield Williams. Thank you for your generous contributions to the Sister Rose Thiering Fund. Have a lovely evening. Continuing our program is the privilege to introduce Dr. Anthony C. Sigliatano, Executive Director of the Sister Rose Thiering Fund and Associate Professor of Religion at Seton Hall University.
Thank you, Ellen, and welcome to everyone here. Greetings. Thank you so much for coming out on such a beautiful night and spending your time with us. Greetings especially to our evening's special honorees, Rabbi Noam Marans, and Monsignor Anthony Zaccardi, their family, friends, and supporters. I want to thank everyone for coming out for an event that prior to 1965 and the promulgation of Nostra Aetate, the work of Monsignor Osterreicher and Sister Rose, and all those who took on the mantle of their purpose simply would not have happened. For those who think nothing ever changes, we are witness tonight that such cynicism is false. Instead, we have a great sign of hope in this very room. During the week, I was thinking about what to say this evening, and someone gave me some pointed advice. They said, "Tony, keep your comments light." When someone says this to you or something like this to you, you think to yourself, what do I usually do? It must be sort of heavy and dark and goth, right? So I was thinking about it, and the person is kind of right. For instance, as my wife knows, I'm not a fan of what my cousin calls happy clappy liturgy or worship. Other people like it, that's fine, but I don't. And I define happy clappy worship in the following way. It's worship without minor notes in its music. The minor notes go missing. And this is exclusive. It's not inclusive. We ought to include the minor notes. Think about klezmer music for a moment without minor notes. It's just 5 people standing around in a circle staring at a fiddle. Minor notes express longing, yearning for something. Now, klezmer music is in fact joyous, but joyous with minor notes. Here I want to distinguish between happiness and joy. A happy day, especially in New Jersey, is riding to work, hitting all the green lights, no one cutting you off, no one making obscene gestures at you, and arriving in time to drink your mocha latte upside down with soy milk unsweetened or whatever it is that people order. An unhappy day, however, is when you get out of the house late, get cut off, spill your mocha on your pants or skirt or blouse, and arrive a little late. Most days are a mix of both, and these are passing, somewhat superficial events. But joy is something else. Joy is the sense that we are working on something meaningful and good and true, something to, as Martin Luther King Jr. would say, build up the human personality. Joy comes from working with other people committed to that good, people like we have in this room tonight. And this joy is never fulfilled because joy, unlike happiness, recognizes that the job is not done. Like klezmer's minor notes, there is within joy a yearning for justice and peace that we realize is not yet fulfilled, but on the way. Tonight we celebrate this yearning that we all share with Sister Rose, this desire to build up the human personality, to dream together of a better future, and to work towards it with one another, new friends and old. Not age, just like friends for a while, right? The Sister Rose Tharing Fund was established because Sister Rose and people such as Max Randall, Pearl Randall Lehrhoff, David Bossman, Paul Gibbons, and many others shared not only a yearning, but Sister Rose's vision of supporting the education of teachers who form generations of young people, and so are on the front lines where issues of anti-Semitism and bigotry more broadly might be forestalled, and where people can learn to work together to heal a wounded world. Working together is no foreign idea to the people in this room. The American Jewish Committee, where Rabbi Marantz does his remarkable work in interreligious relations, was instrumental to Sister Rose's early work on anti-Semitism in Catholic teaching materials. People may not be aware of this, but they actually helped support her dissertation work. Father Phil Latronico, the chair of the Newark Archdiocesan Commission on Interreligious Affairs, joins us this evening. Where is Father Phil? There he is. Okay. And has worked for decades on interreligious dialogue. Phil Ball, who I missed in the lobby somehow. Where's Phil? Who is here this evening from Teaneck, has been in contact with me and Rabbi David Levy from AJC to sponsor dialogue in Bergen County. Finally, our very own Alan Silberstein wrote a crucial essay on Sister Rose's dissertation that brings it out to everyone, lets you know exactly what was in the dissertation. My sincere hope this evening is that new friendships will be formed among people from different traditions and that you will remember this night as the one in which a new relationship happened or an old was deepened, so as to forge new bonds against anti-Semitism and other forms of prejudice and bigotry. Thank you. And now I want to welcome Rabbi Marins to the podium to say the opening prayer for the evening.
Shalom, friends. From our shared scriptures, from Tehillim, Psalms, Tov lehodot ladonai, ulezamer lishimcha elyon. It is good to give thanks to God and to sing praises to your name, Most High. Also from Tehillim, Psalms, Hine matov umanaim, shevet achim gam yachad. How good and how pleasant it is for siblings to dwell together in unity. And from Bereshit, Genesis, Vayivra Elohim et ha'adam b'tzalmo. And God created humanity in the divine image. And from Vayikra, Leviticus, Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Love your fellow as yourself. Thanksgiving, community, all of us created in the image of God, loving our fellow human beings, values to embrace tonight as always. And we give thanks to God for the gifts of Seton Hall University, its Sister Rose Thering Fund for Education in Jewish-Christian Relations, and the Institute of Judeo-Christian Studies. People and institutions who have done so much to transform and advance Christian-Jewish relations. With gratitude for my fellow honoree, Reverend Monsignor C. Anthony Ziccardi, recipient of the Sister Rose Thering Award for Outstanding Service to the Sister Rose Mission. And above all this evening, we are blessed by the life and good works of Sister Rose, who taught us that one person, each of us, in fact, any one of us, can make a difference. May the memory of Sister Rose continue to be a blessing as we confront anti-Semitism, persecution of Christians, and all forms of hate through the spirit of her example. And finally, once again, from Tehillim, Psalms, Zeh hayom asa Adonai, nagila v'nismechavo. God has given us this wonderful evening. Let us be glad and rejoice in it. Amen.
Dr. Katia Passerini, Seton Hall Provost, will now deliver Dr. Neyer's remarks. He unfortunately could not be here tonight, and he has left these remarks for her to deliver. Dr. Passerini, thank you.
Thank you. I will try to do my best to deliver Dr. Neyer's remarks, which were very earthfelt. Welcome to the Evening of Roses. Thank you for joining us. Tonight, we will advance a spirit of inspiration and fellowship as we pursue three essential goals. One, We are here to celebrate Sister Rose. Her life continues to guide our fight against anti-Semitism and all forms of religious intolerance through education. 2, we're also here to strengthen our namesake fund. The Sister Rose Thering Fund is vitally important to Seton Hall and the cause of mutual respect between the faiths. It provides a powerful example of our Catholic educational mission, and it shows our students how to fight effectively against all type of prejudice. And 3, finally, we're here to congratulate our honorees. Rabbi Noam Marantz and Monsignor Anthony Ziccardi are deserving recipients of our admiration. They have dedicated themselves to bringing the people of God together in a spirit of shared understanding, and they have achieved exceptional results. Rabbi Marantz's work with the AGC is renowned. He was instrumental in observing the 50th anniversary of Nostra Aetate in this country. And he has had several audiences with the Holy Father, Pope Francis. He elevates the AGC's interactions with many of the Abrahamic faiths, including Muslims, Latino evangelicals, and Latter-day Saints. I was fortunate to meet Monsignor Ziccardi at the beginning of my presidency. Remember, that's Dr. Nair. But I was fortunate as well to meet Monsignor Ziccardi at the beginning of my term as a provost and to actually speak with him in Italian. At the time, he served as Vice President of Mission and Ministry and Secretary Designate to the Board of Regents. In my first month in South Orange, I benefited from his wisdom and valued his insights on matters big and small. The input he provided was always thoughtful and discerning, and I know his service to the Sister Rose Thering Fund has been equally robust and equally valued. It is inspiring to know Rabbi Marantz and Monsignor Ziccardi are carrying on Sister Rose's essential work. Many thanks, and congratulations also to you all here. Because of your faith and vision, efforts to educate people in the ways of compassion between the faiths will continue to grow. Thank you for including us in tonight's celebration. God bless you.
The musical program tonight is directed by Jason Tram, a Sister Rose Thering trustee, and an associate professor and director of choral activities at Seton Hall. Mr. Tram?
Thank you, Ellen. And it is an honor to be at this prestigious and important event, a highlight of the year always for the Sister Rose Thering Fund and for me personally. And it's always an honor to be asked to bring some musical entertainment to this event. This year I thought about some friends who not only resonate with the theme of seeking social justice. We have many conversations in our various working together. But it got me thinking about, as a musician over the last 30 years making music, that through musical sound, I get in front of groups of people and divisions melt away, our national origins melt away, our backgrounds melt away in the pursuit of musical sound. And these two gentlemen here both exemplify that. We have Thomas Malessa, our pianist, who I've collaborated with him on many occasions and in many different states, and a great collaborator. And Mr. Jeremy Bronner, who, even though he went to Montclair State for his undergraduate, we'll let that go. Jeremy is a rising star in the opera world. He recently performed at Opera Tampa, did the Pagliacci and the role of Canio in an acclaimed production. He's making his Carnegie Hall debut in 2 weeks, and I believe you're going to hear a lot about this voice. So, without further ado, I hope you enjoy this. This is all music from the theater on the theme of social justice.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. I'm honored and privileged. Thank you so much, Jason, for having me. When asked to come here tonight, I thought hard about some repertoire, and I thought perseverance is something I think rings true in the fight for social justice. So the first piece that I chose is from The Man of La Mancha, musical by Dale Wasserman. It's a telling of Don Miguel de Cervantes' story, Don Quixote, and a reimagining where Cervantes himself is held captive and he inhabits the character of Quixote in order to entertain the prisoners and as he's being marched off towards the Inquisition. And this is the credo and it becomes the anthem of the musical. It definitely has carried on for many years after that. When asked why do you do this, why do you go on, and his response is it's his quest to dream the impossible dream, and that is, I think, the fight for social justice. It's a never-ending battle. It's an impossible dream, but we must do that in spite. So I wanted to share that with you today. Back to the microphone now. This next piece is from Rodgers and Hammerstein's Carousel, which I thought also fit the theme very well. Perhaps a less redeemable man, Billy Bigelow, is than Don Quixote, not so noble, but still this message that is derived from the musical, again, becomes a credo to just persevere in spite of those unfortunate life circumstances. So this is You'll Never Walk Alone from Rodgers and Hammerstein's Carousel.
And
one of my favorite renditions of that is Richard Tucker. He's a really great American tenor, and it just absolutely sings that beautifully. This last piece, bringing us now into the world of opera, is from Puccini's Turandot. Again, another credo to just persevere. A little recap: this opera, we're in Peking, China, and there's this mysterious princess who's commanded anyone who can answer these 3 riddles will have her hand in marriage. And in walks an unnamed prince who answers these riddles 3 and bets his life on it, and decides that he will then bet his life one final time to give her a question. If you can guess my name, you can take my life and have your independence, and we won't be married. So the entire town or the city is turned upside down. Nessun dorma, no one sleeps. Everyone is set to task to find out his mysterious name, and he takes a moment of solace to appreciate that.
Continuing our program, I'd like to introduce you to Sarah Voorhees. Sarah is an English teacher at Milburn High School and a teacher scholar in the Sister Rose Thiering program. She is a highly valued colleague of mine at MHS, where we share a room, so we see each other daily. It is a joy to introduce her tonight as one of the finest teachers I know. She is a teacher who has made a positive difference in the academic lives of her students and who is a role model for them because of her integrity, empathy, and creativity. Sarah?
So thank you so much for having me tonight. Sarah Voorhees, I teach high school English over at Milburn High School. Currently I teach American literature, and I also teach a course called sports literature, where we just have debates about sports all day. It's great. I also coach volleyball, girls and boys volleyball, and then added on this year a couple semesters of coursework, working towards the certificate program. And why I'm really grateful to be here tonight is because whenever I come here to an event that celebrates Sister Rose and seeing what she has to say about teachers, I'm reminded that I actually genuinely love what I do, especially this time of the school year when it's, can you curve that grade? Is this gonna be graded? Oh my gosh, my GPA, it's chaos in these kids' minds because we're wrapping up the school year, and often at this time of the year it feels like I'm not a teacher, I'm a grade giver. And then I see the value that Sister Rose placed on what it means to be an educator, and I'm reminded, the value of taking courses through this fund and through this program. And it reminds me of why I became a teacher in the first place, is because, when I was in high school, I wasn't a scholar. I really wasn't, and I needed teachers who saw me as a person to help me get over the hump of being a teenager. And that's why I got into this profession, because I want to look at my students as human beings, and I want to remind them that they're a person. They're not just a person who's doing homework, and just tell me what to do so I can get an A, but they're a person who can add value to this world and really contribute to being part of a community. And I have learned invaluable information. I feel like valuable is the word of the night here. I really learned the importance of being part of a community and to look folks in the face and look at our history, and I've gained principles that I can now pass down to my students through the courses that I've been taking. And I'm just really grateful that this room in particular reminds me of why I am a teacher, why I love being a teacher, and has given me tools that I can pass down to the next generation in hopes that they go into the world and they use them and create a more cohesive and accepting and tolerant world. So thank you for this opportunity. I'm excited to keep learning. Thanks.
We offer special remembrance and recognition to those who are no longer with us, but who have left a great legacy, having served as trustees, founders, and visionaries of the Sister Rose Thiering Fund. Pearl Randall Learoff was a founder, and Paul Givens was a founder and chair emeritus. We'd like to present a certificate.
Yes, we'd like to present this certificate for Ms. Pearl Randall Lehrhoff for her visionary efforts to inaugurate the Sister Rose Thiering Fund at Seton Hall University, and for her passion for the mission of Sister Rose to reduce prejudice and foster peace and justice. Dr. Bossman, would you come up to receive this on behalf of Pearl, please? I'd like to ask Mary Gibbons to come up, please. For his exemplary work in support of the Sister Rose Thiering Fund for Interreligious Dialogue, and for his passion for the vision of Nostra Aetate and the Second Vatican Council, we express our profound gratitude to Mr. Paul Gibbons.
this time, we'd like to honor Melinda Hanlon, past chair of the Sister Rose Thiering Fund, for her dedication, guidance, and wisdom. If you would come up.
If I was an opera singer, I could do this without a microphone, apparently, but c'est la vie. For outstanding service as chair of the Sister Rose Thiering Fund for Education in Jewish Christian Studies, whereas Melinda Hanlon was chair of the Board of Trustees for the Sister Rose Thiering Fund from 2018 to 2022, whereas Melinda Hanlon took on an additional year of service, whereas Melinda Hanlon brought the Sister Rose Thiering Fund through the most challenging time of COVID-19, whereas Melinda's calm, deliberate, and thoughtful leadership enabled the Sister Rose Thiering Fund to persevere through this difficult time, whereas the Sister Rose Thiering Fund Board of Trustees wishes to express its profound gratitude for all that Melinda has done as chair of the Board of Trustees and all that she means personally to the members of the board. We and the members of the Board of Trustees of the Sister Rose Thiering Fund at Seton Hall University on this date, May 30th, 2023, honor Melinda Hanlon as Chair Emeritus of the Sister Rose Thiering Fund, an outstanding member of the board and an inspiration to the work of the Sister Rose Thiering Fund as we go forward with the mission of the fund to advance the legacy of Sister Rose Thiering by fostering understanding and cooperation among Jews, Christians, and people of other religious traditions through advocacy and education, as well as Sister Rose's own personal mission to stand for justice and against bigotry in all its forms. We therefore invite all present to proclaim with us our gratitude for the extraordinary efforts in extraordinary times of our most recent Chair Emerita, Melinda Hanlon. Rabbi Brill is the Cooperman Ross Endowed Chair for Jewish Christian Studies in the Jewish Christian Graduate Study program at Seton Hall and Director of Graduate Studies for that same program, succeeding Father Lawrence Frizzell in that role. Rabbi Brill has published 2 major books, Judaism and World Religions, Encountering Christianity, Islam, and Eastern Traditions, Judaism and Other Religions, Models of Understanding, and Rabbi on the Ganges, a Jewish-Hindu Encounter. That's 3 books. My counting is bad. He is a wonderful colleague, a renowned scholar, a devoted teacher, and really is the perfect person to introduce Rabbi Noam Marins for this award in education for interreligious harmony. I give you Rabbi Brill.
It is an incredible honor to introduce today's honoree, Rabbi Marins, one of the Jewish community's leading lights of interfaith. How do I convey what he has accomplished? I will start with an old joke. A Muslim cleric, a Jewish rabbi, and a Christian pastor walk into a bar. We need to use your phone. There was an accident. What happened? We put up a sign back in the road that said, "The end is near," and someone kept driving. So, well, the rabbi said we should have just written "bridge out," and I think that would have been more effective. This classic joke begins with the setup. A Muslim cleric or a priest, a minister, and a rabbi walk into a bar, and there's a whole genre of bar jokes. Now, mine may have not been the funniest, but I had to pick a clean one. But the important point was that in 2023, a priest, a minister, and a rabbi walking into a bar or a dinner is no longer what it once was. Now the bartender is, what is this, still a joke? Meaning it's no longer there. The original joke worked because it threw into sharp relief and comic background that different beliefs, perspectives, and context do not meet up and work together. But 20 years later, they do. Now, I've actually known Rabbi Marins for over 20 years. and has seen his accomplishments and work over the years. When Rabbi Noah Marin started at the American Jewish Committee, he told the following story to the local papers, that among his proudest accomplishments in Ridgewood, New Jersey, where he was the rabbi, was the creation of an annual interfaith Holocaust remembrance service, an idea he attributes to his Methodist minister friend who suggested the idea and convinced the Catholic priest to join him in this. It was a transformative process, Rabbi Marin said, for Christian-Jewish relations in Ridgewood. The service, which he described as a joint effort of Catholics, Protestants, and Jews to find a way to learn together and commemorate the tragedy of the Holocaust. At that time, like the bar jokes, working together was still incongruous and unlikely. But it's no longer a joke, it's the norm. And 22 years later, Rabbi Noah Marins has made these occurrences the norm. Much of the joke has been lost due to his dedicated work. Now, Rabbi Noah Marins is the American Jewish Committee's Director of Interreligious and Intergroup Relations, heading the agency's national interfaith outreach and advocacy. He is a recognized leader of Catholic-Jewish dialogue. He played a central role in celebrating the 50th anniversary of the transformational Nostra Aetate document. He's delivered a keynote address at the official U.S. Catholic commemoration and has participated in multiple audiences with Pope Francis. He is also the head of the International Jewish Committee on Interreligious Consultations. For those who, the inside, just call that IJKIC for short. He has also expanded the AJC's engagement with Muslims, Latino evangelicals, Hindus, Latter-day Saints, and leads efforts to turn back anti-Israel initiatives with mainline Protestants. And last month, I saw in the papers that he expanded the engagement to Mennonite Anabaptists. So a huge range. He spearheaded the AJC's constructive criticism of the controversial Ober Ammergau Passion Play, which resulted in the mitigation of the production's anti-Jewish elements. He actually took one of our own Seton Hall students, Alana Carter, as part of the contingent to Germany. And during that same time period, he had his oldest intern, our own Deborah Duane Lerner, who interned at the AJC after she finished the Jewish Christian Studies program. He expanded the religious engagements to include Hindus, which had its own learning curve. So, for example, when the Swamis came for the first time to the AJC office and said they were vegetarians, you're already smiling, you know the result of this. The AJC served tuna and egg salad, not realizing that they would consider that meat and had nothing to eat for lunch. But now he works regularly with the Hindu Aid Foundation and all sorts of other Hindu organizations. So another highlight that I want to point out, he certainly remembers the Hanukkah candle lighting in Abu Dhabi back in 2018 before the Abraham Accords with Sheikh bin Baya, which was seen as a transformational moment before even anything was announced that things were changed. And in 2021, he met with Pope Francis and Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Ahmed Al-Tayyib. Amazing accomplishments. And I cannot leave out that it was in 2016, the 23rd Monsignor Osterreicher Memorial Lecture for the Institute of Jewish Christian Studies here at Seton Hall University. Before arriving at the AJC in 2001, he served for 16 years as the rabbi of Temple Israel in Ridgewood, New Jersey. He earned a BA in Political Science at Columbia and an MA in Rabbinical Ordination at the Jewish Theological Seminary. He is also past president of the Northern New Jersey Board of Rabbis. He has often said that Jews should recognize when Christians change. No one should take for granted the considerable advances in Catholic-Jewish relations since Nostra Aetate, and we should recognize them. We have to thank Rabbi Marins, who helped us recognize the change, and his invaluable work has made the idea of the rabbi, priest, minister, Hindu Swami, imam working together not a joke, but our daily reality. And for some people, it's their daily work. With that, I welcome my friend and colleague, Rabbi Noah Marins.
Thank you, Rabbi Brill, for that fantastic introduction. We do want to provide Rabbi Marins with this award for his service. I can't tell you how grateful I am that he is here with his family and his friends tonight. But I want to take this for interreligious harmony. Thank you so much. And we hope that we have work together. Yes.
Alan, if you went on a little longer, I might have started crying. Really beautiful amalgam and remembrance of so many things, a few of which I had not remembered until you reminded me tonight. So thank you for all those kind words. What I don't think everyone here knows is what kind of teacher and mentor you are for people like me in the field. You are a scholar who is also a practitioner, and we are practitioners who try to be scholars, and we rely so much upon you. I don't know if you remember that when I took a group of AJCers to India, I discovered your blog on the Ganges River, and I would assign the group the blog that you wrote about the next place that we were going to so that they wouldn't be intimidated, and they all got to know you in this way. There are just so many examples of this. That's just one of many, and we are very grateful. I'm filled with gratitude to Seton Hall and the Sister Rose Thering Fund for this award. One cannot overstate how humbling it is to be honored with a recognition bearing Sister Rose's name. Her lifelong work is a living model to all of us who work to advance Catholic, Jewish, and wider interreligious relations. The list of Seton Hall colleagues, lay and professional leaders, mentors and friends who have guided me over the years is actually a very long list. So tonight, I want to particularly thank Dr. Anthony Shiglitano, Tony, and Yolanda Sheffield Williams, the Fund's Executive Director and Program Manager, respectively. With whom I have worked closely for several months in advance of this evening, and I met them in person for the first time tonight after having a virtual relationship. But my appreciation extends to all in the Seton Hall leadership and community who have touched my life. I am blessed tonight by the presence of formative forces in my life. my family, including two nonagenarians, my mother, Tzipora Marins, my father-in-law, Kent Roth, and his partner, Minda Shine. My wife, Rabbi Amy Roth, my soulmate in growing familially, Jewishly, and so much more. Our eldest of four, Daniel, representing his at the moment geographically far-flung siblings. And some of my siblings and their spouses are here too. My father, Rabbi Arnold Marins of blessed memory, is always missed, but at an event like this one, I think even more so. My rabbinic colleagues and spouses with whom I have journeyed since rabbinical school at the Jewish Theological Seminary, and even some college friends as well. My lifelong congregant friends at Table 11, who met me as a 26-year-old rabbi at Temple Israel in Ridgewood and are still here at my side. Thank you. And our special congregation, Beth Shalom Synagogue community friends from Teaneck, who insisted at sitting at the Catholic table. Thank you for being here and supporting me and this worthy endeavor. And finally, and arguably most significant in this context, my colleagues from the American Jewish Committee, especially the National Interreligious Relations team with whom I work closely. You have made the last 22 years at my AJC professional home a labor of love. It is the AJC brand that opens into religious doors through which I have walked. Thank you, AJC, for being here tonight. And I think we should all thank AJC for contributing generously to the Sister Rose Thering Fund. And a special shout out to AJC's Chief Advocacy Officer, Bel Yoeli, who made all of that I just described happen. Thank you, Bel. Okay, now the intellectual part, so fasten your seatbelts. I'll try to keep it to 6-7 minutes. A few thoughts about Sister Rose Thering. If you were a congregational rabbi, as I was, or a Jewish communal leader in northern New Jersey for even a few years during the last decades of the previous century, you would likely have encountered in person the legend known as Sister Rose. She was everywhere in New Jersey and well beyond throughout the world as the substantive, indefatigable, and even relentless advocate for, among other things, telling the story of Christianity's anti-Jewish past, promoting Christian-Jewish reconciliation, demanding Holocaust education, battling anti-Semitism, saving Soviet Jewry, and supporting Israel with dozens of missions to the Jewish state. My wife grew up not far from here in Bloomfield. She remembers as a young girl hearing Sister Rose at her synagogue and at Central Hebrew High School, where Jewish public school students continued their religious education beyond bar and bar mitzvah. Amy was one of many future Jewish leaders to pass through the school and have a chance to learn and hear from Sister Rose. I met Sister Rose when we brought her to Temple Israel in Ridgewood, New Jersey, where I was the rabbi for 16 years, beginning in 1985. As Alan correctly said, very early in my rabbinic career, a local Methodist minister friend lobbied me to establish an interfaith Holocaust remembrance service, and together with the local Catholic Monsignor, we founded a service which continues strong 37 years later. Sister Rose spoke at an interfaith education event that complemented the service early in its history. But I did not completely understand the full impact of Sister Rose until I began my interreligious work at AJC. I came to AJC in 2001, and in 2009, I moved into its fabled interreligious affairs department, becoming its national director in 2011. In 2009, I started studying the details of Sister Rose's role in partnering with AJC to lay a foundation for the Vatican process that would yield Nostra Aetate, the October 28, 1965 document that transformed Catholic and wider Christian attitudes toward Jews and Judaism. Nostra Aetate, among other great achievements, rejected the idea that Jews then or now are collectively responsible for the death of Jesus. That is, the deicide or Christ killer charge that had been a cornerstone of Christian anti-Judaism. That hatred led to a defamation of the Jewish people and the resultant persecutions, which climaxed with the unfathomable yet very real Holocaust in an unmistakably Christian Europe. Nostra Aetate was a critical step in undoing centuries of anti-Jewish damage. And now listen up, AJC friends and others. In 1958, that's 7 years before Nostra Aetate, before Rabbi Mark Tannenbaum is even on the scene, Rabbi Morris Kurtzer, yes, the father of the Kurtzer scholar of Pius XII, he writes about his father and his influence upon him as the Interreligious Affairs Director at AJC, and his writing today about Pius XII. For those who are inside baseball, look it up tonight. Don't go to sleep till you read about Kurtzer father and son. AJC's Director of Interreligious Affairs initiated an AJC process of funding self-studies of American Jewish, Protestant, and Catholic textbooks. AJC raised money so that those denominations could study their own textbooks and how they taught about other religions. AJC was concerned that Christian textbooks might be contributing to negative perceptions of Jews and Judaism. And in an act of bashert, fate, Jewish and Catholic providence, AJC approached St. Louis University regarding a Catholic textbook study project, and in 1959, none other than Sister Rose Thering was assigned or chose, I still haven't figured out which one it was, the study of Catholic religion textbooks as her doctoral dissertation, late 50s, early 60s. Meanwhile, change was afoot at the Vatican, where post-Holocaust self-reflection had begun to surface. Pope John XXIII, now Saint John the 23rd, for those keeping score in the Jewish community, our two favorite popes became saints on the same day, John the 23rd and John Paul II. Actually, on Yom HaShoah, ironically, they both had a role in helping Jews be saved during the Holocaust. John the 23rd had already signaled that he wanted Catholic attitudes toward Jews and Judaism to evolve, and led the way by striking from a Good Friday prayer a reference to perfidious, that is, faithless Jews. He followed with his call for the Second Vatican Ecumenical Council, which included a charge to Cardinal Augustin Bea to address and correct negative Catholic teaching toward Jews and Judaism. In advance and throughout the council, AJC Interreligious Affairs, then already headed by the legendary Rabbi Mark Tannenbaum, assumed a leadership role in educating and advocating Catholic leadership about the type of change that was needed. And along the way, AJC produced 3 memoranda essays for Cardinal Augustin Bea and the council. The first was written by a member of Rabbi Tannenbaum's team, Judith Hirschkopf-Banke, a legend in this field, and, I looked it up, a 2001 Evening of Roses honoree and honorary doctorate recipient at this gathering in 2001. Banke's AJC memoranda essay was entitled "The Image of the Jews in Catholic Teaching." It relied very heavily on Sister Rose's not yet published doctoral dissertation. Parentheses, no female names on that memorandum. Not Sister Rose's name on the memorandum. Not Judy Banke's name on the memorandum. We're not sure why, but we think they believed it would not have been as effective if women's names were on the document. It relied very heavily on Sister Rose's not yet published doctoral dissertation. To give you some perspective on the enormity, seriousness, and effectiveness of this project, I note that the third of the memorandum was written by whom? Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, whom Rabbi Tannenbaum had brought into this process and who developed an influential personal relationship with Cardinal Bea. In short, it was the persona and scholarship of Sister Rose, whom we are celebrating today, and her legacy, facilitated by AJC, the agency I believe that I work for, that jump-started a better understanding of what in Catholic teaching needed to change if there was to be a new Catholic Church regarding Jews and Judaism. This unfolding story led in no small part to an evolutionary process toward the betterment of Catholic-Jewish relations, which continues until this day. AJC remained in collaborative relationship with Sister Rose until her death in 2006. She received, in 2004, AJC's Jan Karski Moral Courage Award, quote, for her lifelong commitment to Christian-Jewish relations, her unwavering and inexhaustible support for Israel, and her relentless opposition to anti-Semitism. If you don't know who Jan Karski is, we got to dedicate 20 minutes. Please Google him tonight, but I'll say 2 words. He was a Polish resistance fighter who, after the war, became a diplomat, and he was among the first reporters of what was happening in the Warsaw Ghetto and other places. Jan Karski was honored by Yad Vashem as one of the already 28,217 righteous among the nations who risked their lives to save Jews during the Shoah. You know, in the plaza outside the Polin Museum and the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising Monument, if you face the monument with your back to the museum and walk about 100 feet, you'll see the Jan Karski Memorial the next time you're there. Jan Karski was recognized by Yad Vashem as righteous among the nations, but I think the Jewish people can recognize Sister Rose as a righteous among the nations, an exemplar of how to live in response to the Holocaust, which is what her life was. Okay, I'll skip a couple of pages and get to the end. Sister Rose came here to Seton Hall in 1968, and this community embraced her over the decades, and we're still doing it, year in and year out, and helping the teachers and raising Holocaust education. But I want to end with the following. I have been thinking a lot about Sister Rose as I contemplated my journey that led to this honor. As we confront the reality of resurgent anti-Semitism, we might rightly be wondering, what would Sister Rose be doing? But first, we need to acknowledge that the world of better Catholic-Jewish relations, which Sister Rose helped to create, remains a critical, perhaps preeminent bulwark against anti-Semitism. Pope Francis is one of the most outspoken and influential voices combating the evil of anti-Semitism in the world today. If Sister Rose were alive today, I doubt she would be resting on Catholic progress laurels. She would be demanding of her church, wider society, all of us, to do whatever possible to eradicate the oldest hatred. Sister Rose would be calling upon her church to take the lead and set the example for all others, teaching, indeed protesting, and saying that a society that is infected with anti-Semitism is not just a danger to the Jewish people, but to all of us and the divine spark that is found within each of us. Sister Rose's immortality is that voice of conscience that continues to ring in our ears. Thank you for this honor.
Thank you for that amazing speech. Very much appreciated. And I hope we have a long working relationship together with AJC and with all the people here, that we make new friends and connections to continue the work of Sister Rose that Rabbi Marins spoke so eloquently about. I want to now introduce our second honoree for the evening. Maybe we can have one more round of applause, if you don't mind. That was really stirring. So we like to honor people who do work out in the world, but also who do work here amongst us at Seton Hall and for the Sister Rose Thering Fund. And it is my honor and my privilege this evening to introduce Monsignor Zaccardi, Monsignor Anthony Zaccardi, over here tonight. Monsignor Zaccardi has been a friend of mine for a long time now, and he is one of the most remarkable people I know. We're honoring him for his outstanding service to the Sister Rose mission. Monsignor Zaccardi has been on the Sister Rose board since 2013, and when my predecessor, Dr. David Bossman, stepped down, Monsignor Zaccardi took on the role as interim executive director. Some years ago, Paul Gibbons and several others relayed to me the extraordinary amount of work. I have Anthony here, I'm used to calling him, but Monsignor Zaccardi, for formal matters, shouldered not only those years, but during some tumultuous years of the fund's existence. and it gives me great pleasure to honor him this evening. Monsignor Zaccardi does this kind of work all the time. He works quietly. He doesn't sleep. And he does excellent work. If you need someone to do something well, he does it. And I'll come back to this in more of a Seinfeldian image in a few minutes. Anthony is a scripture scholar, a teacher in the Immaculate Conception Seminary School of Theology, and we welcome the School of Theology here tonight as his supporters. Thank you for being with us. Where he is currently coordinator for undergraduate admissions and retention and has served in many roles at the university, including secretary to the Board of Regents and vice president for mission and ministry, where I met him and he got me into doing something or other, some kinds of seminars. He's very good at that as well, so be careful. There are some folks who enjoy the limelight and are good at it. We need those people to direct our attention to worthy causes and important events, and one hopes not solely to themselves. Monsignor Zaccardi is not one of those people. He will, of course, speak or lead when asked and do a wonderful job of it. What he does is serve, tirelessly and with excellence. When someone needs something done and needs it done well, he is the person to ask. In Seinfeld's parlance, we'll use an indefinite article, he is a well-doer. You might ask, what does he do well? It doesn't matter. Ask him to do anything. Teach Hebrew, teach Latin, teach Greek, teach Scripture, etc., etc., etc. And he'll just do it well. That's what he does. No one has been a more fervent and consistent supporter of the Sister Rose mission on campus, save perhaps for Sister Rose herself. It is truly my honor to present the Sister Rose Thering Fund Award for outstanding service to the Sister Rose mission to Monsignor Anthony Zaccardi.
I want to thank all of you for coming tonight to support this event and the work of the Sister Rose Thering Fund. I especially want to thank my colleagues in the seminary. They had a full day of a faculty assessment, and they're here tonight, and tomorrow's another day, a full day of faculty assessment. So they're working 24 hours a day. I'm somewhat embarrassed to be honored by the Sister Rose Thering Fund. It's a group with a very, very important mission that I've only assisted inadequately and insufficiently. I hope to do more in the future. My involvement, I assure you, was not programmed, at least not by me, but I believe it was so by divine providence. I've been at Seton Hall since the late 70s, first as a student and then as a teacher. It's here that I met the pioneering figures of Monsignor John Osterreicher and Sister Rose Thering, and the whole effort they were leading, each in his or her own way, of bringing Jews and Christians together to understand and appreciate one another. It was a work on the margins. It remains so for most Christians and Jews today. But by the 70s, the Second Vatican Council had already, in the preceding decade, rejected every form of anti-Semitism, as Rabbi Marins said so well. The Council also affirmed the irrevocable covenant between God and the Jewish people and stressed the unique and vital relationship between Christians and Jews. Born in southern Italy and spending my earliest years there, I had never met a Protestant Christian, never mind a Jewish person. Yet when my family came to the States, I met some of both, and they piqued my curiosity. Curiosity that these many years later has, contrary to the proverbial wisdom not killed this cat. On the contrary, it has been the source of a richer life. I can recall that in the 7th grade, the teachers of St. Joseph's School marched my class across town to the synagogue that was then on Prospect Street in East Orange, where the rabbi welcomed us warmly. He explained about the Jewish faith, Jewish worship. He showed us the Torah scrolls. That's the power of teachers. My teachers did that in Catholic school in the 1970s. I remember, too, that throughout my youth as a server at Mass, the first reading was almost always drawn from the Jewish scriptures. That all was new with the Second Vatican Council. We didn't read much from the Jewish scriptures before then. My imagination was captured by texts that spoke of how all mankind would eventually be united to God's chosen people, and this by God's design, not in some accidental way. Recall these lines from Isaiah. It shall come to pass in the latter days that the mountain of the house of the Lord shall be established as the highest mountains, raised above the hills. All nations shall stream toward it. Many people shall come and say, Come, let us go to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob, that he may teach us in his ways, that we may walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. Or, Thus says God, the Lord, who created the heavens and stretched them out, who spread forth the earth and what comes from it, who gives breath to the people upon it, and spirit to those who walk in it. I am the Lord. I have called you in righteousness. I have taken you by the hand and kept you. I have given you as a covenant to the people, a light to the nations. Or again, it is too little, God says, for you to be my servant, to raise up the tribes of Jacob and restore the survivors of Israel. I will make you a light to the nations, that my salvation may reach to the ends of the earth. And then this precious text from the book of the prophet Zechariah that unfortunately we do not read in the liturgy. Thus says the Lord of hosts, in those days 10 men from the nations of every tongue shall take hold of the robe of a Jew, saying, Let us go with you, for we have heard that God is with you. I was sure then, as I am now, that God is with Israel. But why were we Gentile Christians then not associating very much with Jesus' own people? Even when Jewish people were our neighbors, we were not holding on to them. I didn't get it. And the cognitive dissonance meant that this is what set me on the path of discovery that began here at Seton Hall and took me to study Scripture, to learn Hebrew and to teach it, to understand the Christian Testament in light of the Scriptures of Israel. My involvement with the Sister Rose Thering Fund has been just a part of my own personal and modest response to the plan of God that he is rolling out before humankind, to draw together Jews and Christians in mutual understanding for the redemption of the world. Sadly, as I said earlier, it remains a peripheral task. Far too few Christians and Jews are interested, not to say suspicious of those engaged in it, as either, well, perhaps unnecessary or maybe even traitorous. I could not disagree more strongly. I stand with the 220 rabbis and intellectuals who formulated Dabru Emet, the Jewish statement of the year 2000, that while acknowledging Jewish-Christian differences, set forth common ground and recognized the legitimacy of Christianity for non-Jews. I stand, too, with the original Jewish framers and 60 subsequent rabbi signatories of the 2015 statement to do the will of our Heavenly Father, or our Father in heaven, affirming Christianity as the willed divine outcome in human history, and recognizing also the shared values of both faith communities and our joint responsibility to tackle together moral challenges that assail humankind. And if it may seem that I'm only affirming the appreciation of Jews for Christianity, I want to underscore the radical appreciation of Judaism enunciated by the Second Vatican Council when it recalled the teaching of Paul of Tarsus, that the church draws its sustenance from the root of the well-cultivated olive tree onto which have been grafted the wild olive branches of the Gentiles. Note the present tense, draws. The church did not once draw its sustenance from Israel. No, she still draws her sustenance therefrom. The Christian church's relationship to the God of Israel passes through Israel itself. So I say to my fellow Christians, from Israel we draw our sustenance. We are nothing if we are not in vital relationship to Israel. For a truth that we Christians should never try to dodge or minimize was clearly articulated in the fourth gospel, and it is this: salvation is from the Jews. Salvation is from the Jews. We should ponder the saying more deeply, because obviously Jesus said it. Note, moreover, that Jesus did not say that salvation is just from a single Jew, Jesus himself, or from him and his Jewish parents, or from his Jewish disciples, the Jewish founders of the church, but from the Jews in the collective and widest sense possible, past and present, and yet to come. For the Jews are the elect of God, through whom God has drawn to himself also us non-Jews, for the salvation of all humankind, as the sovereignty of Israel's God is acknowledged and enacted by word and deed. God promised Abraham, "In you shall all the peoples of the earth be blessed." I believe that God makes good on his promises. Why? Because God has been doing it already. Do you not see it? God will continue to do it. Do you not believe it? I say, let the naysayers who would reject the blessing stand aside and give way to those who will welcome it and multiply it to the greater glory of God and the redemption of the world. Thank you for your attention. I'm glad to give you a little pep talk to keep you going on this important work, but maybe just a story to end with. When I arrived on campus as a teacher, of course, I recognized Sister Rose all too well, and within just a couple of short years, I was the associate dean of the seminary. Not something that I asked for, by the way. But Sister Rose appeared at my door within 2 days of my being named to that post, and she told me exactly what to do about Jewish-Christian relations and how we needed to change the curriculum at the seminary. And then she did it again. That was Sister Rose. That's why we're here. So we need to take the message far and wide and be insistent on something so precious to us, something very near and dear to God's heart. Thank you.
Our next speaker was a professor in the Jewish Christian Studies program when I was a teacher scholar in the Sister Rose Thiering program. He was the executive director emeritus of the Sister Rose Thiering Fund. The courses that he taught allowed me to become a better teacher in person, inspiring me to do what was right and fair and always with integrity. All of this due to his instruction. It is with thanks to him and with a great deal of pleasure I introduce Dr. David Bossman.
Well, I must say it's a wonderful thing to see everyone here tonight. Every person here represents a dedication, a concern, and involvement and a contribution to what we're talking about tonight, and that is understanding one another in an affirmative way rather than a stereotype or a negative way, as I think history has borne out, has shown us adequately in the past, including the Holocaust, maybe especially the Holocaust. But as Anthony Zaccardi pointed out, it's a cheerful thing, but as Rabbi Abril pointed out, it's something we should celebrate. And as Rabbi Marin says, Matov Monayim Shevet Achim Gam Yahad. So let us rejoice and be glad that we are together tonight to celebrate not only Sister Rose, but what Sister Rose meant, what she represented, what she gave to the world, what she inspired people to do, and she not only inspired, but she encouraged and she urged them to do. And I think that urgency that she had in everything she did is what is being manifested today, this many years after her passing, in her good works. And part of this good works is bringing in the scholarship funds that are so important to bring teachers to this program. Now, there are many people who take Jewish Christian studies, and this is very appropriate. There are many priests and nuns who come from Africa, many people from coming from the professions for personal enrichment. This program is populated by a wide variety of people. But the Sister Rose Thering Fund focuses particularly on teachers, because teachers are the ones who are going to change society. They're the ones who are building from the bottom, building with people, building within the classroom, building both intellectually and spiritually and emotionally the children who are going to grow up to be the modern world, the next world. And so a scholarship fund has that kind of meaning for us tonight. And so I'd like to thank in a particular way the Mike Berman's generous gift to the Sister Rose Thering Fund for teachers scholars in the Lowell Harwood Scholarship Fund. This generous gift is an ongoing reminder of Lowell Harwood's dedication to the education of teachers on issues relating to the Holocaust, its lessons, and promoting interreligious values for understanding, religious values of understanding for a pluralistic society. Let me begin by speaking of Lowell, and then move on to his friendship with Sister Rose Thering, and how this endowed scholarship fund encompasses the educational values of Rose and Lowell together. Born in Newark and raised in New Jersey City, Lowell Harwood returned to Hudson County after graduating from Kent State University and serving in the United States Army during the Korean War. Lowell became a pillar of the Jersey City business community, serving on the board of the Jersey City Chamber of Commerce and the Chamber's president in 1958. As a philanthropist, Joel was a dedicated supporter of Christ Hospital in Jersey City. He established the Harwood Heart Center, a state-of-the-art coronary care unit, which continues in his name to this day. He also served as a Kane University trustee. In recognition of his dedication of service to Kane, he was named university's Man of the Year in 2003. The Harwood Arena at Kane University is named after Lowell in honor of his leadership and generosity for the university. The board of Kane University is where Lowell met Sister Rose Thering. Rose and Lowell were kindred spirits as they shared a dedication to the education of today's youth on the history of anti-Semitism and its horrific consequences in the Shoah. Together, they advocated for the formation of the Holocaust Center at Kane University as a living witness to the Shoah and as a resource center for educators. Sister Rose and Lowell felt a camaraderie to educate young people to be better citizens for today's world, regardless of their religious diversity. Lowell must have been surprised that a Catholic nun was so dedicated an ally in promoting Holocaust education and fighting anti-Semitism. In addition, Rose recognized a moral imperative to teach students today about the history of anti-Semitism and its horrendous outcomes in the Shoah. Interreligious friends and admirers created the Sister Rose Thiering Fund in 1993 to recruit and fund teachers to enroll in the courses of the Graduate Department of Jewish Christian Studies here at Seton Hall. Today, a dedicated interreligious board of the Sister Rose Thiering Fund focuses on promoting the education of teachers in whose classrooms they teach young people about the evils of the Holocaust and explore ways to build bridges of understanding, dispelling hateful stereotypes, and working together for a better world. Sister Rose wrote, "I know the power of teachers. It is my fondest hope that teachers will enroll in the Jewish Christian Studies at Seton Hall University. The distinctively comprehensive span of Seton Hall's graduate courses lends perspective and depth to these studies." I'm pleased to welcome tonight the family of Lowell Harwood as we celebrate his role in promoting Holocaust education and partnership with our beloved Sister Rose Thiering in fighting anti-Semitism and prejudice wherever and whenever it is found. We honor Lowell's memory today with the creation of the Lowell Harwood Scholarship Fund in Jewish Christian Studies. We commit to a partnership between interreligious educators of all courses. The program enrolls students of varied religious, ethnic, and geographical backgrounds. I thank everyone present this evening I thank everyone present this evening as we honor Rabbi Marins and Monsignor Zaccardi, whose careers admirably exemplified this very mission of countering religious prejudice by building harmonious and effective interreligious relations through education. So I would like to invite Rabbi Mike Berman and Lowell's family to come up for a photograph. Thank you.
Craig Harwood, Lowell's son. Sean Harwood, Lowell's great-nephew. And Fred Harwood, Lowell's nephew. These are all...
Something very special for you tonight, created by trustee Robin Sanders. It is a video montage of Sister Rose. To those of you who knew Sister Rose, our video will be a poignant reminder of the great legacy she left to the Sister Rose Thiering Board of Trustees to continue. If you did not know Rose, you soon will, as the video expertly created by Robin, to whom we give thanks, will show you Sister Rose's dynamic personality, wisdom, undaunted passion, and love. I hope the video will inspire you to help continue Sister Rose's legacy. We present Sister Rose in her own words.
To live to see the day when an endowment makes possible for teachers to take courses in Jewish Christian studies, I tell you honestly and sincerely, this is the beginning of the fulfillment of my greatest desire. Teachers, now, through scholarship funds, can learn the history, the lessons of the Holocaust, the darkest, saddest period in this 20th century of ours.
Before I engage myself in that special honor concerning the Theater of Gala, I would like to say a few words. First of all, I don't know whom to answer first with all of the accolades that came, and I think that many of you forget, even those who spoke, that it's the endowment at Seton Hall University that's the very important issue that we're celebrating today. It's 10 years ago that that endowment was formed.
At last year's Tribeca Film Festival, we brought to your attention a much smaller film, Sister Rose's Passion, a short documentary about a Catholic nun who has dedicated her life to battling prejudice against Jews. It won Best Documentary Short at Tribeca and now is nominated in the same category for an Academy Award. Orrin Jacoby is the producer and director of Sister Rose's Passion.
As a filmmaker, you hope that your stories will connect with people. And the greatest satisfaction that I get from the success of this film is that people are connecting with Sister Rose.
It's so difficult to eradicate prejudice or anti-Semitism, and you're not going to get rid of it until some vicarious learning takes place.
Seton Hall University's Sister Rose Thering Endowment enables that learning by funding the Jewish Christian education of New Jersey school teachers. They, in turn, can teach their students Holocaust sensitivity. The endowment, established in 1993, recognizes annually those who have had a significant impact on the advancement of Jewish-Christian relations. Included on the list of honorees, humanitarian activist Elie Wiesel, actor Theodore Bickel, and Christoph Miley, the Swiss bank guard who exposed the cover-up of the hoarding of Jewish assets originally seized by the Nazis. Father David Bossman is the executive director of the endowment.
The wonderful thing about the documentary on Sister Rose, it actually doesn't really mention the Sister Rose Thering Endowment, but really gives the rationale for her career. And of course, the rationale for her career is the rationale for the endowment.
Sister Rose gives us a history lesson.
When the ship, the St. Louis, reached Florida with Jews trying to escape Hitler, they were turned away. The ship was sent back to Europe, and most of the passengers were killed, were slaughtered. And I wear this little sign. It says Zohor. It means remember. Don't ever forget. I'm a Christian, though. Why should I remember the Holocaust? Yes?
Because it's important. Like last time, well, the Holocaust, the Christians and the Catholics did not take any actions. And if it happens again, it's like reminds you that they should take action.
As the subject of an Academy Award-nominated movie, the 84-year-old nun hasn't gone Hollywood just yet.
The nominees' luncheon was incredible. I've got to say the greatest moment was as we were leaving, Warren Beatty stooped down next to Sister Rose's wheelchair. She was, getting around in a wheelchair, and she gave him an impassioned story of the film and her life and what she cared about. She's the only woman in America who doesn't know who Warren Beatty is.
But you can be sure Warren Beatty knows all about Sister Rose.
I would hope that the film will be shown in every school across the USA so that they can come to an understanding of what it means to be prejudiced. And they must learn cooperation, love of one another, and caring for one another. I just want to tell all of you, each of you, I'm eternally grateful to you, eternally.
Without your guidance, that we could not have done, I think, because you showed us the way, you stretched out your hand to us, and you got in return a warmest response from all of us.
We will close this evening with a benediction by Monsignor Zaccardi.
As we thank Almighty God this evening, we also thank one another for coming out to be with one another. You'll see that this prayer goes beautifully with what Rabbi Marins reminded us of in quoting from the scriptures, and especially Tehillim. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, King of the universe, who graciously fill our mouths with both sustenance and praise of you, who have not only spoken to us to make yourself and your will known, but have also given us words whereby we might address you, so that with the psalmist we say, It is good to give thanks to the Lord and to sing praises to your name, O Most High, to proclaim your loving kindness in the morning and your faithfulness through the night. For you, O Lord, have made me glad by your deeds. At the work of your hands I sing for joy. How great are your works, O Lord, how profound your purpose. The senseless cannot know it, and the foolish cannot comprehend it. O God, who in all your words and deeds have manifested your purpose to us, not according to our inherent qualities, but your generous election, grant us also to confirm and sustain your plan by all our words and works, until your sovereignty be complete and your rule be full over all the earth and among all peoples. And let all of us say, Amen. Have a good evening, everybody, and a safe ride home.
We hope you have enjoyed this evening, and thank you for your support and participation tonight and in the future as we begin the 30th year of the Sister Rose Thiering Fund. Our coming events are listed on the last page of your program, beginning with the Dr. Marcia Robbins-Wilf Lecture, October 22nd, 2023, with speaker Professor Susanna Herschel. May your lives always be blessed, filled with joy, success, and contentment. And may the words of Sister Rose be your passion too. Thank you and good night.